Hey everybody, Adam here for True North Wilds with another Simple Fishing RLM Elite Slam. This one is for the RLM Elite Walleye box that I received and unboxed in August. This slam was fairly challenging from the start. The water hasn't really cooled down here. The greenback run, the walleyes out from the big lakes into the rivers really hasn't started, and that's normally what we would be fishing for right now and what we would be catching, and that just really hasn't happened. It's really behind and the water's low, and it's a whole host of conditions that makes walleye fishing right now still fairly slow in my area. However, things took a bit of a bizarre twist as I was casting and retrieving my UV from tight lines. These are UV grubs. They give off UV light, or they glow in dark conditions. They stand out really well in the water. They have that nice twister tail action. They look really good in the water. And imagine my surprise when I was casting this and jigging with it, and all of a sudden I pulled in not a walleye, but a bullhead. Bullheads are a lot of fun. They put up a great fight for the size of fish that they are. They grow to be about 14-15 inches. They're a species of catfish, so they're muscular, they got big mouths, they'll pretty much go after anything. So I thought to myself, I've already caught one bullhead on the grub. I'm not catching any walleye. That's a really slow bite. Why don't I make this a really interesting challenge, see if I can catch a bullhead on every lure in the box. So that's what I set out to do. Next up, I had the Abates Gozilla 4-inch plastic with the paddle tail on it. These things are great, they look great in the water. I put it on a jig, jigged with it. Sure enough, I got a bullhead pretty quickly. After that, I figured I would carry on with the plastics and it would be pretty easy. Next up was the Yum Pulse, which again, with the paddle tail, has that great action in the water, has a good sparkle to it, looks really good. Threw it on a jig, dropped it down, and I got a bullhead. He grabbed onto this thing so tightly, I had to pretty much rip it in half, taking it out of his mouth. He just would not let go of it. So the Yum Pulse, score another bullhead. I was on a pretty good roll with the plastic, so the last one I had in the box to try was the Abates 4-inch Minnow. And this is a cool plastic that has a jointed sort of tail section here. Again, swims really nice, that same paddle tail action, good color in it. This one surprisingly took me a little bit longer to start getting bites on, but sure enough, racked up another bullhead for the scorecard. I thought for sure, once I was done fishing with the plastics, there was no way I was gonna get a bullhead, a type of catfish that stays near the bottom. It's a bottom feeder. You consider them scavengers. You don't really consider them to be predator fish that'll go after anything. I thought there's no way I'm gonna get a bullhead on the rest of my lures. But I was wrong. The Strike Pro lipless crankbait, this thing has an awesome rattle to it, looks good in the water, nice color to it. I was ripping it up, letting it sink down, ripping it up, letting it sink down. Got a bullhead. On the lipless crank, bullhead, nice size, latched onto that, pulled him in. It was a lot of fun. My Lunker Hunt Hatch Natural, which sinks like a stone. It's nice and solid. It doesn't snag very easily in the river because it's a mud bottom. This was actually fairly easy to catch a bullhead on. I just let it sink down right into the mud and played with it a little bit, bobbed it up and down a couple times. I got a bullhead on here fairly quickly. That was actually a fairly easy one, surprisingly. I was getting pretty optimistic I'd be able to complete this silly little challenge of getting a bullhead on all my lures. Next up was the Lucky Bug Lures 3-inch Zombie Max. This one put my fishing skills a little bit more to the test. It took me a long time to catch a bullhead on this, and not for lack of interest. I actually caught a big goldeye on this, which was fun, and I had tons and tons of bites, but I had a lot of trouble setting the hook. This particular 3-inch model has only the one hook on the bottom, and it's normally a treble hook. And you can see that I had to modify this. I had to put on the single hook, a little bit bigger of a hook size than the treble hook that was on there. I consider it not cheating. It's still within the spirit. It's still the same lure. I just had to modify the hook a little bit. As soon as I did that, bam, I started catching fish on it. I actually pulled in a couple fish on this, which was kind of amazing just for the type of lure it is. Pulled in a couple bullheads. I got a nice big goldeye, like I said. It was just a fun lure to catch on, but it was definitely challenging. It definitely took me a while to figure out that hook issue, and once I sorted that out, bullhead on the scorecard. The last lure in my box, and the one I thought there is no chance I will catch a catfish on this thing, to complete this silly little challenge was my Bagley Lures Balsa Shad 8 to 12 foot diving crankbait. This thing, for a diving crankbait, Bagley makes quality lures. This thing dives down in the water. It has an awesome little side-to-side shimmy. It dives to a really good depth. Colors are fantastic. It's a really realistic looking paint job. But catfish, come on. Uncle Randy was fishing with me. He said there's no way. Turns out catfish, bullheads in particular, will still go after a diving crankbait. And as you can see here, I caught a bullhead on the Bagley Balsa Shad diving crankbait, rounding out my box, catching a bullhead on every single lure in my walleye box, which I think is hilarious. So this was a really fun, silly little challenge to do. We weren't catching walleye, which is no fault of the lures. They just aren't running yet. The last couple days, it's just finally started to cool off here, and you can see it's kind of a cooler, miserable sort of day here behind me. So they're just going to start running now. I have no doubt these lures will catch me walleye as we go out in the next week or two. So since we weren't catching, why not? Catch bullheads. Nobody really ever fishes for them, so I figured it would be a fun thing to do. I was really surprised, to be honest, that all of these lures caught me bullheads. It's not something I was expecting. Even when I started the challenge, I figured, there's no way. Maybe I'll get one or two and it'll just be a mix, success and fail for the box. But what do you know? A bullhead will pretty much go after anything. If they'll go after a diving crankbait, I mean, you can pretty much throw anything down there and it turns out to catch a bullhead. So it was a lot of fun to do. These lures are great. I'm looking forward to using them for the rest of the walleye season here. And it's a successful slam. What can I say? Not maybe as intended, but a success nonetheless. So if you like that video, hit those buttons down there, like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot for the channel. If you like the lures that you saw today, you can get a subscription box of your very own from Simple Fishing, simplefishing.ca to check them out. They have walleye box, bass box, pike box, multi-species, all kinds of great stuff. If you're not already, follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/TrueNorthWilds, on Instagram @TrueNorthWilds, and of course, if you like to read, I like to write about my outdoor adventures. You can check that out, TrueNorthWilds.com. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I will see you outside.